Okay, so we are here with a great client of 1000x Leads, Mr. Matthew Johnson. It's going to be a banger video. We've got some crazy results from this man. Recently, he's been absolutely printing, signing some absolute whales as well. So I'm super keen to chat. Matthew, do you want to introduce yourself, introduce your company as well?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Matthew Johnson. I'm actually the CMO of Full Circle Agency, which is a seven-figure done-for-you Amazon agency. We're servicing some of the biggest brands in the entire US. And they're probably brands that you've heard about as well. So Leo and I are going to be talking all about it. And my hats off to both Leo and Matthew Larson. They've pretty much transformed the business, and of course, we're going to be getting into it here. So just want to preface with that.
Beautiful, man. I'm keen to chat. Do you want to give us an idea of sort of where you started when you joined up with us, and then kind of what's happened, and then like the whole journey to where you're at now?
Yeah, of course. So prior to joining 1000x Leads, so us at Full Circle didn't really have a marketing plan or funnel. So it's a buzzword about having a strategy or having a plan. And people may think it's like something woo woo type of like, manifestation or something. But if you don't know the real customer journey and the process through which you're actually gaining leads, then it's impossible to scale. And everyone in 1000x Leads has the same intention, which is to exit their brand, right? Exit their company for, you know, high figures. So we were at a form of purgatory that I think a lot of agencies fall into, where they just rely completely on referrals. Yes, you do good work. You get the occasional referral from one of the bigger clients, and you know you don't really know where the next client is coming from. So that's something that we had Full Circle struggled with a lot prior to 1000x Leads, and it kind of left a lot to be desired because nobody wants to live in a constant state of like scarcity. You just take every client that comes through. If it's a shitty client, then it's like, I lose more time, I lose more money. And then if it's a good client, then we count our stars. We don't know when the next one's going to be coming through. So it's a bit of a like a typical snapshot of where most agencies or how most agencies operate. But from experience, I can tell you that it's true.
Yeah, that makes sense. To be honest, we do have a bit of a mix of people that want to exit versus people that want to just scale up and kind of have their agency be really stable. Like I think the big thing
Yeah.
is more about the stability of lead gen and things like that. But yeah, that makes sense. Like you mentioned, we do see a lot of that of relying on referrals, these sorts of things. Do you want to give us an idea of what sort of results were you able to achieve so far? Obviously, you're not even like finished yet. You're only about halfway through.
Yeah, of course. So as Leo said, we're only about 40% of the way through the funnel. That might even be compensating a bit too much, maybe around 30 to 35%. And just this week, I was talking to Leo earlier. We signed two clients that came in directly from our funnel efforts. So, and just to give a bit of like a real understanding of the type of clients that we service. These are seven, eight, and nine-figure brands, and sometimes we're on rev share with these brands. So two clients is by no means a small amount of additional revenue for you know an agency of our size and our deal structure. So that's two deals coming through just this week, and we've had a couple deals in the pipeline that are expected to close coming through in September. And then even before that, we already closed a deal with another eight or nine figure brand that somebody or most people would actually know about. So what I'm trying to say is that we've added somewhere north of 40 to 50K in revenue on a monthly basis. And that's not including our LTV, which is anywhere between like 6 to 12 months, depending on what exactly we're trying to service for that particular brand. So seeing as though before we didn't really know when the next client was going to come through, to now we can predictably say that, okay, this many leads are coming through, this many calls are being booked a month, and this many deals are expected to be on the table for a particular quarter, I'd say that that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I guess what would you estimate would be like the total extra revenue that you've added just as a result of like the content and the stuff you've been doing as a part of the funnel?
I'd say anywhere between 50 to 100K, like in that ballpark there, for sure. It's
That's not
nothing less
bad.
than that.
That's not bad at all. I'm pretty happy with
Not
that.
too bad.
It's a good one. So, what do you think was holding you back before you joined? Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's out there that is trying to tell you what to do. That's trying to say, go spam call him, go, sign some VA appointment setters and things of this nature. What do you think your biggest challenges were that you had to overcome to get those results?
To be honest, it's a mixture, right? Because 1000x leads preaches that there are, around four things that prevent agencies from scaling. And you can go as far as to say five things, is what, of course, both you and Matthew Larson like to say. And one of those big things being yourself. So it's having this self-limiting belief from before you even start that, hey, do these lead gen methods or do these marketing funnels actually work, right? Because as you said, you've probably seen so many videos out there. I know I get a ton of them on my YouTube recommended that are like, how to generate this many leads using LinkedIn or using cold email or using Twitter ads, whatever. And you get spammed with them to the point where it's like, I haven't seen anybody say that, it's actually working for them. So it was a self-limiting belief before. Can my company really do this? Can I have the same results for the company? Until you see guys that are in the community that are actually doing it. Both Leo and Matthew Larson are talking from a point of experience as well. They've done it for their own agencies as well as for countless other agencies in the past. So I think that was one of the biggest ones. It was just that limiting belief, which came from ourselves and not necessarily the work that we've actually been doing. Another thing
Yep.
is in how everything is interconnected, right? So it's not just cold outbound or cold outreach. It's not just content. It's not just our case studies. It's not just paid ads. It's not just our product. It's everything together. Everything is interconnected. So everything works together. And the more of it that you actually have, the better the whole system actually works, right? So instead of going from a place of we just need this to succeed in our marketing, we need all of these things together in order to achieve effective marketing at scale as well, because we're going for every business wants to scale. At least I'd assume so. So it's being able to do it at that scale, and we wouldn't have that plan, strategy, or even a semblance of that without seeing their 1000x leads funnel. I think a lot of people would be wowed just by seeing it, right?
Yeah, it is. I think it's one of those things that you look at the funnel straight away and you're kind of like, oh, wow, that looks like a big complex thing. And it's almost overwhelming to start. And I know a lot of people look at it and they kind of agree, you know, that makes sense. That funnel looks good. I would love to have all of these things running,
Yeah.
but I don't have time or I can't do it, or is it going to work for me in all these things? So what do you think the main benefit and the main areas that we could help you specifically were in terms of overcoming all those problems that arise when you're trying to do something that's kind of a big challenge?
Yeah. So let me make it clear that 1000x leads is a step-by-step plan. So it's not as though everything, like they just throw the entire funnel at you and they're like, do this, right? There are steps to doing or to carrying out the construction of the funnel. So starting with, something as simple, and in this case, it might not even be simple, but getting your mind in the right place, right? So reprogramming yourself to be the type of person or to be the type of person that can implement this funnel in the first place. So starting with that and then moving step by step into creating your social media channels, creating a specific plan for your newsletters, starting everything. And then they also give you the reason as to why you're doing it. So it's not just do this because I told you to, right? Do this because this is going to happen as a result. You need to nip this in the bud before this happens, right? So everything is a step-by-step plan. When something is broken down into pieces, it's more easily digestible than if it were all thrown at you in one meal, right? So everything is broken down within a 3 to 4 month plan, and if you're following this plan day to day, and they're even providing you breaks because I guess they're merciful, um, so so you're even provided with breaks. Even that is scheduled to the point where your entire next 120 days or something has already been planned out for you. All you need to do is do it exact, and they've given frameworks and everything exactly how it's supposed to be done. So if somebody were to say to me it's overwhelming at first glance, you could make the argument, but when you actually have the plan, the only thing that's preventing you from carrying out the plan, again, is the fifth problem, which is you, like the person that's meant to do the work, right? So that's
Yeah.
what I'd say.
I'm glad you found it so simple. That's, it's good because we work a lot of hours to try and make it as simple and remove as much fat
Yep.
as we possibly can.
Yep.
But yeah, it kind of brings up to the next point, which is like, how long do you think it would take for you to build it on your own versus with us?
I have no answer to that actually. Like how long would it take to do by itself? To just
Like by yourself, yeah.
yeah, that's a hard question. Because okay, now that I've done it and I've seen, like I've gone through it step by step, I can, find my way around it. But if I didn't have the plan prior to that, it would probably be, and I'm overestimating myself here. I'd say like 9 to 12 months to try and figure everything out. Like all the testing, and then eventually stumbling upon the system. I might even be, shooting for the stars here. I'm smart, but I'm not sure I'm a thousand x lead smart like that. And I'm not trying to, downplay myself, or put the funnel on a pedestal or anything. It's just that difficult because even with the plan, it's not like there's no thinking involved on your end. You still have to think through the things that you're actually going to write about, or through the things that you're going to implement. You still have to record the videos of the where you need to record the videos. You still need to write the lead magnets. You still need to be ideating. You still need to be coming up with, your own material while you're going through the entire funnel. So don't get me wrong, there are step by steps towards the entire process, but you still need to be thinking. They're not going to hold your hand and think for you, right? So having that in mind, and then wondering how I would do it by myself, like if I didn't have anybody else, maybe I'd say more than 9 to 12 months. As I said, it could take more than a year to implement everything myself, right? And I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, it's funny because I 1,000% agree. I always like to say it will take some work. You'll have to learn how to think a little bit differently. You'll have to, get a really fundamental understanding, and it will take some time. Like 3 to 4 months is not overnight. But
Yeah.
in saying that, it will probably be the highest ROI thing you ever do by a mile. That's what I like to say, and I
Yes.
think that's pretty true because once you do have it ready, and it is kind of that hard, it is one of those things that's like, oh fuck, you got to do a bit of work. But once you have it, it's like good luck ever worrying about clients ever again. That's it. I think it's kind of objective almost in that sense because you just have done so much stuff and it's so streamlined. But yeah,
Yep.
obviously I'm pretty biased, so that kind of checks out of me to say. But yeah, I guess for people listening, what would you say are like 2 to 3 of the most actionable things you've learned as a part of what we do?
So, and let me piggyback on what you said. earlier as well, in saying that hope I haven't lost my train of thought here actually. So once something is built, like it's once you do it once and you do it right, chances are you'll never have to do it again unless you're testing, right? So once you build your newsletter flows correctly once, then you won't have to, hopefully you won't have to do it ever again unless you're testing, of course. And by that point you'd already have everything built in the first place. So yes, the initial setup it's tedious, right? I wouldn't even say it's difficult per se, it's just tedious. Building everything out once, but after that, once it's built out once, you can make the tweaks, you can make the necessary adjustments, and it becomes there's solace in that, right? That hey, I only have to do it once, and then after that I can, really just make tweaks where necessary and test. But going into your question, so something actionable that I take away, I've learned one, how to deliver information in the best, arguably the best format possible, especially when it comes on to free information like lead magnets. That's the just the principle and the philosophy of how lead magnets are taught in 1000x leads is enough to make you like a ton of money just by itself, because you'd be surprised how creating a good lead magnet, because you can even think of YouTube videos, long form YouTube videos as lead magnets in and of themselves. And those very same long form YouTube videos have resulted in multiple booked calls, and we have like 50 subscribers, right? So we don't have like 1K, 5K, 50K. We have 50 subscribers. Our booking calls from those videos, right? So that's another thing that we've gained from it. It's being able to create these scripts, these lead magnets, for lack of a better term or word, because I think it encapsulates everything well. And has resulted in us actually garnering and generating lead flow just from that, because people find our content much easier to consume, very to the point, and it's very informational as well. Something we're taught in 1000x leads is to create the lead magnet. If it's not good enough to be paid for, then it's not a good lead magnet. Start over, right? And yes, it's annoying. Of course, in the beginning it was very annoying to have to like recreate them every time, but damage done um, by having a terrible lead magnet is, something in the back of your mind. It makes it worth redoing it and making it something that people would genuinely pay for, results in clients. Like who knew, right? Um, and then the second tip, or the second actionable thing that I learned from it, would definitely be how I approach outreach as well, right? So even prior to joining 1000x leads, I had a bit of a background in doing lead generation. So whether it's cold email, LinkedIn outbound, Twitter outbound, I've done it before. But in 1000x leads, how it started in terms of like prospecting, going for partnerships, that was a huge one as well. A huge unlock was forming partnerships with adjacent agencies. And then even with our outreach scripts and frameworks, I knew Leo even before going into 1000x leads. So having that type of training, and it's very fulsome because Leo has done this for many clients, right? And has had success with many clients. So having all of that, plus the information that we've garnered from the lead magnets and creating lead magnets, how value works, what's actually valuable, and how much to give away, has really turned the entire cold outreach like on its head. So even in D2C, so targeting ecom brands, everybody knows that that's like targeting ecom for cold emails. Everybody and their mother does that, right? We're still booking calls within that niche. Like people are genuinely interested in getting our cold emails, and we're having a ratio of 500 to 1K emails sent to one call booked, right? Which is not bad for ecom by any means. right? And I would attribute those results to 1,000x leads and their framework. So just from one channel, we're booking anywhere between 10 to 15 calls for the month. And then we have like a plethora of other channels as well, like without going too deep into it. So those two things.
Yeah, I'm super keen to see what you can do because, especially with even where you're at right now, like in 3 months, we're probably going to need to chat again because it's going to go even gangbusters
Oh,
after
yeah.
you've got it because it just compounds. And like you said, the more that you have, it's kind of like the rising tide that raises all the ships. Like when
Yeah.
your lead magnets are so good, your outreach becomes easier. And then all of a sudden people watch your YouTube videos and you sign clients, even though you've got 50 subscribers. And you're kind of like, how does this even work? But I've just got leads and they're just here and people just know us and they like us and they want to pay us,
Yeah.
copious amounts of money
Precisely.
for our services. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad that it's working so well for you so far, to be honest, mostly just for that reason of just wait 3 months, like just wait 6 months and see what happens. So that's going to be super awesome for you. The last thing that I want to ask you is going to be probably the most shameless plug. What would you say to someone that's on YouTube in probably a similar situation to you that sees all of these like lead gen people and everyone's saying, do my method, it's better than everyone else? What would you say to those people about kind of just your experience in the whole industry?
So I'll even give a story on this as well, because when I explain, I'm such a believer in it. Like I've told Matthew Larson as well that this is the best funnel for marketing agencies, full stop. So people will say that they'll have really good results with one thing, right? They'd say, I have good results with just cold email. I've scaled my agency to this much with just cold email. Scaled my agency to this much with just paid ads, with just content, and the stories go on, right? And that's good. That's great. If they've done that with just one channel, then it's awesome. But being able to do that, let's combine all of those channels effectively, right? And then you get 1,000x leads from that. But I digress. So going back to the story I was going to tell you about. So I was speaking with some Latin American digital marketers, some of the biggest in Latin America, doing multiple eight figures, right, with their courses, products, launches, stuff like that. And I met them in person. I sat them down and I just pulled up the 1,000x leads mirror board, and I just went through the entire funnel with them, exactly how it would work for our business and then how it would work for their business as well. And these people are at least like 30 years older than me. And they were telling me like they wish they knew me sooner so that I could explain it to them sooner so they could have seen this funnel sooner. Right. And they have maybe 20 years of experience in digital marketing and have said that they've never seen anything like this before, right? So I if you've seen many lead gen videos, then you might think that the answer is just one thing. It could just, in your mind, it's just like, I just need to figure out cold email, I just need to figure out LinkedIn, I just need to figure out content marketing, I just need to figure out paid ads. Why not all of them? All of them together working for your business so that you'd never run out of leads. If one fails and you put all your eggs in one basket, then what becomes of your business after? Like it goes back to where it was before in that purgatory, where it's just referrals. Hey, can you refer this client to us, or can you tell people in your network about our service? It works for sure. It works for us as well. But what happens when your referral well dries up? Right? You're just there, right? Just waiting on your next client. I wish I'd have a meme for this somewhere. But yeah, that's how I describe it. 1,000x leads, everything works together in harmony. And that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. I'm never relying on just one thing. Right. So that's what I'd say. I'd say join 1,000x leads, not sponsored.
No commissions given. Of course not. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm super keen to see what you guys can do because some of the results you've been getting so
Yeah,
far have, you know, been absolutely crushing. So I can't imagine what's going to happen in the next few
yeah,
months. I'm really keen to keep working with you, keep crushing. We'll, you know, have a chat after this about
likewise.
some sneaky strategies you can do. But yeah, man, I appreciate you jumping on the call and all the best. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, of
No
course,
worries,
man.
man.
Thanks for having me. And yeah,
Dope.
nice.